Thank you for listening to Lone Star Community Radio. This program was broadcasted and recorded live from the LSCR studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Lone Star Community Radio is supported by listeners like you. Donate and sponsor today. For more information on getting involved with Lone Star Community Radio, contact us at lscrstudios@gmail.com or visit us online at www.irlonestar.com.
Broadcasting from Conroe Tower in downtown Conroe, Texas, it's the show that never eats all of its Halloween candy, the AOO Show. 106.1, 104.5, irlonestar.com, and available wherever you get your podcasts from. I am Andrew, broadcasting next to the man who is eagerly awaiting the return of the woolly mammoth, Dick Candy Corn Schisler. What's up, man?
Long time no see, bro.
It's been so long. You and I did a thing. We hung out.
Yeah, we actually hung out.
I invited you.
I still haven't met your wife, but we hung out.
Well, I invited you over.
Oh, well, we hung out way too much the day before when I was
perhaps it was out of guilt. I don't know, but no, of course not. But we did. We did a thing, man. We hung out because the weather's gotten amazing. It's nice being outdoors, and you're just such good company.
Yeah, it was fun, and we went to the local saloon brewery here.
Local.
Yeah.
So local, it's like basically in your backyard.
It was. So that's why I was very excited about doing it. And, well, you know what? Let me talk about this. So this was like one of those rare weekends where I had nothing planned with the studio, with bowling, all this kind of stuff. So I was trying to, I reached out to you, and I reached out to several of my friends to say, hey, this is what we're doing. Like, if you want to come, let me know, and I will, so we can get a bigger table or whatever.
Are you telling me I'm the only sucker that
you're
accepted?
You're the only one. Well, no, everyone accepted, and then
I'm the only one who showed up.
You're the only one that showed up, and I was sitting there so pissed off about it because of the rarity of all you hanging out with me. And then I was like, all these other guys I know that I've known for so long, I was like, oh, they're going to meet Andrew, and da-da-da-da. They listen to the show.
Yeah.
And then, all of them had different excuses.
Well, I'm sorry it didn't work out for you, man. I didn't know that you had such grand plans. And here I thought you just wanted to hang with your radio buddy.
Well, no, I wanted to hang out. That's what I love about that place we went to. It's it's all outside, so it's a beautiful day. And I guess they had a farmer's market or something.
Yeah, it was like
I did not expect that.
No, I wasn't either. It was a vendor's market of some sort. We had people.
Parking was insane.
It was kind of insane. Everybody was trying to sell their wares, right? Anything from candles to T-shirts to
I didn't even
whatever.
Look at any of it. I really did. Well,
I mean, you couldn't not see it. As you go back and forth to grab a beer, you kind of have to walk through the vendor area. And I did notice, I'm like, oh, look at that. Some local salsa. Nice. That kind of stuff. I like that, though.
Yeah, I know. I think my favorite moment, and I bet everyone's been in this position, where it takes a real talent to be able to basically guide a trailer.
Yes, specifically backwards.
Backwards is one of the. It's challenging. And it's a learned skill. Like anybody, like a couple of my friends who know how to do it, you know how to do it. It's like these guys have definitely had the training because not really everyone has a hitch and a trailer. So we watched this couple.
We did
attempt to exit the brewery.
Very, very unsuccessfully,
for
I might add.
20 minutes, I think.
Yeah, no doubt.
We were front row and center. We were sitting right next to the thing.
You're not exaggerating. It was at least 20 minutes. Multiple attempts to back this trailer up. And what's funny is it got to a certain point where I was doing running commentary. It was like, oh no, turn the other way. Oh, dang
And then
it.
I think what eventually happened was somebody who had experience saw the struggle.
Correct.
Because the husband and wife
both made attempts.
Both made attempts. And then you saw the stranger get in the car.
And it took him one try.
Oh, yeah. And again, it's an acquired skill. And
it was a tight area, and he was backing out onto a street, and there was a car behind.
It was parallel parking.
Yeah, it was parallel park. So I have to admit, it was not the easiest of reverse job. But, that one guy just got in there and said, I'll handle this. Leave it to a pro.
Yeah.
How emasculating. Because I know that it was a man and a wife, right? And the man was the one making the first attempt. And I never saw them switch out. I just happened to look over after, 10 or 15 minutes, and she was driving. So I think she said, get out. Let me try this. And then she was unsuccessful. And I looked back, and then it was him again trying. and then of course the innocent bystander who helped them out.
Well, it's funny. It's with all those vendors there. It's funny how all there's so many stories there because that particular group, we actually inadvertently met the guy because when we first got, if you were,
This is right.
see, Andrew did not remember this. So
No, I remember now.
we first get there, it's pretty packed, and usually when I go to a packed place, I like to get my beer and go find somewhere a little secluded so I can see what's going on.
Yeah, so you could lurk properly. Correct.
So,
yeah.
So we did. We chose like the furthest table first time.
You're like a bat hanging from a tree in the corner.
It was great.
weird.
I loved it. And,
I don't even feel like I'm part of the event.
and then this
See
guy.
that picnic table way over there? That's where we're going.
Well, I made the mistake because this is a family place, and so we had 2 picnic tables, just us. Mm-hmm. And of course, out of all the picnic tables, this random guy with his 4 kids come, and he just lays all this stuff on the tables, and just lets the kids go wild. And I'm sitting there, I'm telling a story that I'm using vulgar language, and I'm like, this guy just ruined my time. And I remember looking, I was like, "How are you doing, man?" Da-da-da. So we get up and we move
to the complete opposite side of the grounds.
Yeah, and then
wouldn't you know?
Next thing I know, that same guy finds us, and then he's playing football with his kids, and I'm like, "Come on, man!"
Like right behind us.
And it was funny. I even mentioned something to Andrew. I go, "Hey, do you think this guy's following us? Because there's no way, like twice in a row, that he's trying not to bother us, but it's like clearly the football's hitting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're just kind of like." What's going on here? And Andrew didn't even connect that was the guy.
No, I didn't. Well, both times he was kind of right behind me, so I didn't get a real good direct shot.
Okay.
And then, correct me if I'm wrong, at one point he was in line behind us to grab a beer as well. So there were multiple times.
It was really weird.
And you know what his punishment was? He wasn't able to back his trailer out.
And it was him. That's because remember I told you that.
Yeah.
Because I went to go get the pizza, and I turn around and I look into the car. I'm like, oh, that's that guy. Oh,
That's
man.
when you just wave at him. Hey, dude.
Yeah. What I should have done is be like, I could back it out, and then fail miserably, and then like,
yeah, you should have been like, hey, man, let me help you out. I'm really good at this, and then just jackknife and get out and be like, sorry.
Oh man, that was
watch him
good.
try and get out of it. Well, how are you dealing with the time change?
Because I didn't even know it happened until I was playing a game with somebody, and the game we play has
why does this not surprise me?
has a server time, and I always I know it's the server time, and when I looked at the server time, I was like, because I think I want to say the server's in New York, or it might be in California, one of those. And I was like, okay, yeah, we're 2 hours usually behind, and then I looked and I was like, man, what time is it?
What day is it?
And I was.
So you're one of those people that this really didn't affect you very much at all. You didn't notice at all the fact that it got daylight a little earlier. Nothing, huh? No.
Well, I guess in my defense, like my only clock is my phone.
Sure. Okay.
And I never change the clock in my car.
Yeah, and it changes on its own. So yeah, how long have you ever ridden out one of these clocks at the wrong time?
I literally tell daylight savings time. Like I just.
So the clock is wrong 8 months out of the year.
Oh yeah.
And now it's like, yes, back to the original time. Oh my god.
Well, something happened with my car where for some reason, I mean, it's 13, 14 years old.
Yeah.
It's my baby, and the way they change the way you do the clock, there's a specific button that you have to push just to change the clock. Mm-hmm. And that button doesn't work anymore.
Okay, so at least you have that reason.
That's my excuse.
I know in older model cars, it was a bit difficult to change the time. This truck that I have now is pretty simple, so I don't have to write it out for days and days.
You just say, hey.
Yeah, it's a settings clock, and then you push the button and it changes. It's pretty nice. But I'm one of these guys who, that Sunday morning, I'm in there changing the clocks. I've been known to write out a clock a couple of days, but it's pretty annoying. The automobile clock is probably the last one, because you're not in the house, or you're not in the car, you're in the house changing everything, and then the next day you get in, you go, oh, that's right, I got to change this one. But I'm pretty good about changing clocks.
Yeah, because I would say today's world, do people even buy clocks? Because I would say my primary clock is my phone, my secondary clock is the oven, and then that's about it for the house.
Yeah.
Or if I need to know the time. I have a watch that I need to fix. Did I ever show you this watch?
I don't believe you have. I know that watches in general are not nearly as popular as they once were because people have cell phones. I was going to ask you how well you adjust to time changes, but it sounds like you do pretty darn well considering you didn't know that it had even occurred. For me, I know in the past, they affect me. It takes me sometimes a couple of days before I fully adjust to the time change. However, this time I was I adjusted pretty well. I will say I'm probably like most people. I take the falling back easier than losing an hour. And man, it really does screw me up.
Did we lose an hour or do we?
We gained an hour this time. Yeah, we're back to standard time. The other time was daylight savings. This is very, very controversial too, because a lot of people don't want to change their clocks. They want to stay on one time.
I don't see why.
I'm kind of the same way, but I have to admit that if we were to not move our clocks, some part of your day is getting eaten up by darkness. It's either going to be in the morning or it's going to be in the afternoon. And so really it's just what you prefer, I think. But there are some people who absolutely no. We want to stay on daylight savings time, or we want to move back.
I just flip a coin and just stick with it.
Yeah, I mean either way is going to have concessions, I think.
I would much rather have my days be later.
Yeah, I like daylight in the afternoon. But if you have, and I think this matters geographically too. So if you're on the western edge of a time zone, you're going to stay lighter longer, but you're going to get the mornings are going to be darker longer, right? So as opposed to if you're on the eastern side of a time zone. But then also if you have children, this can be a big deal because you don't want them to go to the bus stop in the dark. You want them to get to school in daytime. So I think it really depends on your situation and where you live in the world.
Yeah, I guess, whatever, who cares?
All right, so I'm opening this watch here. I am looking at something. Oh, man, my vision is bad. I can't see this.
Yeah, notice that.
Yeah, well, I'm of that age, Dick, where now suddenly
I have no idea how old you are,
I have to
be honest.
I have to do this to see everything, and it's really annoying.
When you told me you had a son that was in the Navy, I was like, wait a second, what?
Yeah, it happens, dude. So what am I looking at here? I mean, this is a cool watch, but what does it say?
That was my great-grandfather's...
National Association of... Oh, letter carriers.
Yeah.
Okay, that's nice. So he got this probably for 50 years of service. And
something like that.
Hey, here's a watch.
And yeah, he never wore it, and I took it.
That's nice,
I'm
man.
going to take it to get it repaired. And the thing is, I don't really like wearing jewelry.
It is definitely a piece of jewelry.
So I'm gonna get a different band and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, he got that. I think he was in the union for like 40, 50 years of postman. So,
Wow.
But the reason I bring this up is funny because I went to go get it checked out to see exactly how much it costs to get fixed because it's never been worn, but it's one of those watches that you have to twist.
Correct.
And I was like thinking to myself, I go, man, that habit's gonna be weird to develop because I'm a very forgetful person when it comes to like crucial things like that.
Right.
Like if you don't spin that, it doesn't work anymore.
Right. You're gonna have to do that.
So I was like,
so are you one of these guys, especially when the time goes backwards, that you move the clock all the way around 23 hours to catch up, or you just push that bad boy back 1 hour?
Well, it depends on the clock.
There you go. Man, you are smart, because I was always told as a kid, and I don't know if it was my parents or mom that told me this or not, but you never wind a clock backwards. Whether or not it was because it was mechanically bad for it or it was just bad luck, you always go forward with it. So on fallback times, I'm always going all the way around 23 hours. And I think it was my wife several years ago that called me out. I'm like, what are you doing? Just move it back. I'm like, no, that's bad for the clock.
I mean, who still has clocks like that?
Well, I do. I have a big analog. I have a big analog clock. No, anything that's analog
like a
is
grandfather clock.
Just a regular old West
dings.
clock or whatever. I do have a few of those too. If you ever came over to my
That's
house,
so
you'd see
weird.
them. But what it says
The
here,
house of the future will not have clocks.
no, it won't. What is time? From wiseanswer.com, though, it says in the last 60 or 70 years, 95% of the clocks manufactured have been designed so that you can safely move the minute hand counterclockwise. Okay, but there are some that are still made, especially if they have little detailed, intricate things with the date and whatnot, that you're not supposed to do that. But most of them you can. The one thing, though, that is universal, you never move the hour hand, only the minute hand, because that will absolutely screw up a clock no matter what. So on that one, bad boy, you want to make sure that you go
I don't know.
one direction on that one. Yeah, because it's an older.
There's no instructions, so I'm going to forget how to do pretty much everything on it. But
well, there are two states that don't actually observe daylight savings time, and I believe that's Hawaii and Arizona. And I know in Florida they've had some legislation that they've tried to pass. In fact, I think at the state level in 2021 it passed unanimously to keep daylight savings time, which would have been the old time here, all year round. And it passed in the state level, but then when it went to the national level, I guess it had to have congressional approval. It died. So they are trying to desperately.
You should just do whatever you want.
I mean,
man.
anytime you have a bill that passes unanimously,
wouldn't that be great?
It's
kind of like those people we talked about before with change. Like they don't like change.
Yes, they don't accept change.
They don't accept change. And I'm
No,
talking about the
thank you.
person making the transaction, not like the retail person. Like you're going in, you give them $10 and you give them their change. Oh, I don't want that. And but so why wouldn't someone in Florida just be like, we're just not going to accept that. We're going to
We're just gonna do our own
we're
thing.
We're just
I mean,
gonna
I
do
guess
it.
there's technically nothing stopping you from doing it, but I think it would have to be a legal thing for it to be recognized. I guess through interstate commerce and things like
No.
this. I don't know.
No, that's
the mail.
No, I think that's something I want to do now. Is someone's like, "Oh, you're going to be here at 6:00," and I'm like, "Yeah, 5:00 my time."
Right.
And they're like, "Well,
Well,
why?"
yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, because I don't accept that standard that you use. I have my own."
I identify with daylight savings time. That's right. And then you're
that'd be
never
good.
late, or you're always late, depending on which one you identify with. That is pretty funny, though.
Yeah, I could see someone being that weird about it. Like, I just don't accept your.
Yeah. I don't accept your time change.
Yeah, all right, I like it. Okay, but no, the time change stuff never really bothered me. I think it's something that I love the idea of. For some reason, our country uses it. I wouldn't mind being there for the development of it.
It says the modern idea of changing clocks with the season can be traced back to at least the 19th century when New Zealand entomologist George Hudson proposed it as a way to conserve energy and extend summer daylight hours. It's been tried in other countries too, and some countries, like I think in Egypt, they do it for a little while and they go, nope, sucks, and then they abolish it, and now they bring it back every few years. So everybody wrestles
that's
with it.
what I love, though. I wonder if there's a poll out there, because I don't even know the difference, because like if someone told me daylight savings time, I'm like, there's two of them, right? And
There's only one daylight savings, but
well, like there's roll back, roll forward, or whatever.
yeah, you roll forward for daylight savings.
But everyone
roll
hates
back for
one of
standard.
them.
That's what I'm saying. It depends on where you are and what your situation is. You either like it or you don't. That's why it's so hard to get this universally.
Who likes it?
I don't like changing my clocks in general. I just think that whichever one we stayed with, eventually I'd get used to it, right?
Yeah, deal with it.
Yeah, I think I would prefer the daylight savings, but that would mean, though, in the middle of winter, it's not going to be daylight until about 8 o'clock in the morning. And that does kind of suck, but you probably just get used to it. I don't know, man. You're staring at me.
It's
You're staring
terrible.
at me. Yeah, I don't know. This is a strange conversation to have, considering you weren't even aware that it had occurred.
We're in the first week of November. We're ready for the Thanksgiving, and I'm ready to. Are you making me a pie or anything?
A pie?
Yeah.
I mean, if you'd like for me to make you something, I suppose I could. We can have Radio Friendsgiving.
No, I was thinking the people have Friendsgiving and stuff like that, and then also people give gifts. And
R.I.P. Matt Perry, by the way.
And I always thought pies were the best gift
Okay.
because you can eat that later. You don't
Yeah.
have to eat it right now, but if someone gives you like mashed potatoes or something, you're like,
Yeah, and I guess you can keep a pie out at room temperature for like a week,
Yeah.
and it's okay. Somehow,
like, you
magically,
get
it
a little
doesn't spoil.
snack, get a little snack.
Yeah, I guess so. Pies are pretty good.
So I'm probably gonna make you a pie,
Hey, man, that's okay.
but I'll make you a chocolate pie.
Thanks. Yes, they just found out that I'm allergic to chocolate last week, so
And you know what we also found out is while we're hanging out this weekend, they make these wipes for your teeth.
wine wipes.
Wine wipes. It kind of blew my mind. I thought it was a wet wipe when I found it. And I was like, oh, cool, wet wipe. Put that in my pocket. And then I started reading it, and it says, yeah, use on your teeth. And it says, do not swallow.
Lips and teeth.
Lips
so
and
so
teeth.
basically what this is,
toothbrush.
if you're in the habit of drinking excessive amounts of wine, you notice that the stains on your teeth and lips begin to occur. And so I guess the idea here is you can be quite the lady and
Yeah.
wipe that off as you're imbibing your
And what I love
your
about
rosé.
what I love about that is, imagine buying that for your significant other. I guarantee the reaction would be like, I don't have wine teeth. It's like,
Yeah, you kind of do.
yeah.
Yeah, well, it happens. Speaking of imbibing things and eating things, I did hear that there is a proper way to eat Halloween candy. And, I start off the show by saying we're the ones that don't eat all of our Halloween candy, but there is one dentist who has said that it is actually better if you were to consume all of your candy the night of in one sitting. And I guess the reason is because you're not spreading it out over time and eating a little bit and letting it sit on your
Yeah.
teeth and then, thereby, I guess, causing cavities, et cetera. So this dentist says, yeah, eat it all at once, kids. It's actually better for your teeth. So that would have been the dentist I like
He
to
doesn't
have.
understand in the underground that's currency. So you're
Yeah,
not gonna-
candy, yeah. You spend all your money at once. You don't want to do that.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that, man. Okay, it is now time to play a game. Are you ready to play a game, Dick?
Yeah, sure.
Let's play Fill in the blank with Dick. All right, are you ready?
That sounded great.
Fill in the blank with Dick. Ready?
What's the blank? Is that a code word for something?
No, it's a fill in the blank. You're gonna finish this sentence. This is a lyric to a song. Are you ready to play Fill in the blank with Dick?
Yes.
His palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy. There's vomit on his sweater already.
Where's the blank?
Blank. You're kidding me.
Like, is it what movie is it?
It's a movie quote. Or I'm sorry, music song quote. It's from a song.
I don't know.
Mom's Spaghetti. This is the Eminem song.
Again, this is the worst. You come up with the worst games, man.
I just assumed you would know, right?
Well, I don't know what Mom's Spaghetti is.
No, but you know the lyric here, right?
No, I do not.
His palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms and heavy. There's vomit on his sweater already. Mom's Spaghetti. That's a very famous line from the Eminem song Lose Yourself, right? Oh my God. Okay, so around my house, Mom's Spaghetti and vomit on the sweater already is kind of a thing. Well, apparently he is cashing in on this Mom's Spaghetti because now you can actually buy jars of Mom's Spaghetti sauce. Eminem is, apparently there was like a pop-up store in 2017 in Detroit where he was from, and they would sell, spaghetti dishes, but now he's decided, I can bottle this stuff and sell it. I thought you would have been pretty happy for this. Like, ooh, Mom's Spaghetti. But to me,
yeah, man, real happy. I totally get it.
The thing is, like, to me, as soon as I see Mom's Spaghetti, I immediately think of vomit. So to me, this is not an appetizing or appealing thing to market and or sell. But yeah, it went on the market a few weeks ago. I'm not saying the exact date, but he announced it on his Instagram page last week.
Everyone's trying to be Paul Newman these days.
Yeah, well, apparently it's a big deal.
I wonder what other celebrities have products they've developed that you would never connect that to them. You know?
Yeah. I'm sure there's celebrities that are involved in all kinds of things behind the scenes, but some people like Paul Newman put their face right out on the open, or in this case,
but yeah, I think he did that because he wanted to start a nonprofit.
Really?
Because Newman's owned, if I remember correctly, it started out as a nonprofit. So he wanted to make organic food and all that kind of stuff, and dressing kind of uses all sorts of foods.
I'm not.
So that's what I understood. And then he gives the money to local charities or something like that. But I mean, I imagine the vitamin water from 50 Cent, he's not giving that money to charity.
No, I think that's going to fund his wine business that he is engaged in now these days.
Yeah, he probably needs to get those wipes, man.
Oh, that's true. Fitty wine wipes.
Fitty wipes.
Fitty wipes.
Because I still think that's hilarious. When I read that, I was like, people put this on their teeth and it says don't swallow? What is this?
You found it on the ground.
Oh, yeah.
Are you going to use it?
I got to see if I can find it again. I lost it.
Dang it.
It's probably in a pocket or something.
It was pretty cool.
But yeah, I wonder what other celebrity crazy products they're selling. Because, like, remember Suzanne Summers had the leg thing?
R.I.P. Mm-hmm.
So I always wonder if that was her deal or if it was somebody goes, hey, we just need a really attractive woman who knows how to sell stuff. It's
right.
like Suzanne Summers.
We need a woman who can put something between her legs and squeeze it.
Yeah.
Right.
And look good.
And look good doing
and then
it.
sell it.
Mm-hmm. And then sell it.
Because she was able to do it while talking.
she did.
Which is talent.
It is, in and of itself.
Yeah. I always wondered that because that almost became her career.
I can't tell you how disappointed I am that you didn't know the fill in the blank.
I don't really know Eminem that well.
That song is so popular, though. It was like it's part of pop culture.
Well, to the point where they're making.
Did you ever see the movie 8 Mile with Eminem?
Yeah, I think I have.
Okay, that is the song from that movie.
But I see more of the parodies of it because there's a bunch of parody movies.
Well, there's a bunch of parodies of that song too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, where Mom's Spaghetti is like every fourth word.
I don't know. I'm sorry, man. I don't pay attention to that kind of stuff. I really don't sometimes, and then I probably do, and then
that just surprises me. I'm so disappointed in you.
Yeah, I didn't. That Eminem went kind of like the other way with me. I didn't really care too much.
Okay. Well, perhaps you've heard of this, and maybe this will spark your fancy. Have you heard of the Cannonball Run Challenge? Okay.
Well, I know it's a car race.
Yeah, it's kind of like this unsanctioned event where these people
you have to go from, like, is it L.A. to
New York City's Red Ball Garage to the Portofino Hotel in Redondo Beach, California, near Los Angeles.
As fast as possible.
And as fast as possible. And this thing is approximately 2,906 miles. Okay. And I love this. I guess it's named after the movie. The movie is named after this. I'm not entirely sure of the history, which was a good movie from what I can remember. But it's really interesting because it's not like a big event where everybody gets a flag and they start all at once. These are people that they do it on their own and then record it and get the times. Well, the overall record, by the way, was broken in October of 2021. 25 hours and 39 minutes with an average speed of 110 miles an hour. And this is basically just two dudes in an Audi who just plan out their route and they take turns driving. And it is really, really impressive. Of course, extremely dangerous because you're averaging 110 miles an hour. And I've got a link in there to roadandtrack.com, and it shows a picture of the average speed and the max speed. This is insane. So this is an Audi A7, I believe is what it was. And it says their max speed, they got up to 175 miles an hour. The total time was 25 hours and 39 minutes, and they only stopped for a total of 31 minutes. I guess that's to pee and fill up with gas.
Well, you got me interested because this isn't like a sanctioned event, so I wonder.
No.
There's not really an honor. Like, there's no way you can just have an honor code. So for them to.
I think it is done on the honor code.
No, what I'm reading is there's certain things that they have to have witnesses or receipts from toll roads. Continuous video of the run and GPS tracking with today. Like this is like through the years.
Yeah.
So you had to prove that you were like going through these things.
And of course, during COVID, the record was broken several times, taking advantage of the fact that there were less cars on the road. And so the record got shattered, and they're like, oh, well, that doesn't count. But, of course, it did. There's nothing in the bylines that says it has to be in a non-COVID era. So the same group that broke it back in 2020 decided to break it again in 2021. And the reason it's coming up here because it was in October, and I think something popped up on my timeline that said, hey, do you remember this event? And I'm like, this is pretty cool. Just makes me wonder.
So you want to go together? Is that what you're trying to
Well,
tell
I was going to say, do you think that little 13-year-old car of yours will...
Oh, yeah, definitely.
We'll remove the hot pockets first from the trunk.
The problem with that car is, though, when you hit...
Reduce the weight.
When you hit 150 in it, you can't go below it. Like, you're stuck there until the car dies. So we either have to figure out a good path where we don't have to slow down.
Like the accelerator gets stuck, I guess?
Yeah. It's just...
I'm impressed that you think your little car will go 150.
I think I've took it 110.
Did you now?
And it was awesome.
Did you feel safe in that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I don't know what the fastest speed I've ever driven. It's got to be around.
Oh,
there.
driven? I've been in a car that's 210.
With you driving it?
No, I was not driving it.
That sounds terrifying.
It was cool. It was on a racetrack though, so
that helps.
That helps.
That helps. Still dangerous though. I can't. But I think the fastest I've ever driven is probably around that. There's just no place to do it.
Racetrack.
Even if your car. Well, I mean 110, not 200.
No.
I mean, even if your car will do it, there's just no place to really safely get up to that speed. Without other human beings.
Depends on your car. Get a Tesla, you could probably do it pretty fast.
Yeah, they are fast. So were you one of these guys that liked concept cars as a kid? And was always fascinated by, every year at the Detroit Auto Show, these cars would come out.
I guess.
And they would have
They're
something
cool.
that was, right? It was kind of, sometimes, some of them were really cool, and then some of them were really weird, and they didn't look right. And I was always like, why are they doing this? And, of course, it's just to show off, basically, some of their new technology.
This doesn't even have rims.
Yeah, right. Look what we're never going to make. You really like it? And every now and again, there might be some aspect of a concept car that makes it into a production car. But it got me thinking the other day, I don't know why, maybe it was because of this Cannonball Run story, but what do they do with all of those old concept cars?
Oh, some executive of those places get them.
They store them, and apparently it's a real pain in the butt, especially the longer this goes on. They have to basically pay somebody to maintain these cars. They put them in a warehouse. They pay a team of people to go in and fix the hoses on them because those rot over time. And then eventually at some point they have to make that decision of which one's going to go because they got to make room for the next one. But it's kind of cool. So these exist, though.
If I was an executive at BMW, I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to take that one home.
Right? Yeah, I guess they just give it to somebody at the end there. Right? It's an executive.
I mean, they're not street legal.
No, I wouldn't think they would be.
They're not.
Yeah, they wouldn't be because they were never produced. So if you'd like to see the first wood-paneled Honda Civic Country station wagon from 1980, it's there.
I mean, that's just the history.
It's
you know.
it's at a Honda store in Japan.
I thought you were talking about the more exotic cars.
Oh, it's all of them. It's any of them, really.
Because I remember there was a car. It was either a Mercedes car, but basically what they were trying to do is like it was minimal doors,
Yeah.
so it's just all glass. And so when you're driving, it looks like you're just floating. That's what they wanted to make it look like you're floating.
Sounds terrifying.
Yeah, and I was like, well, I figured it'd be the opposite. You know, like no, you don't want people to see you. So,
Yeah. It says people all over the world ask to see some of their old cars. This is GM, and GM apparently is really popular in certain parts of the world, so they send them overseas, and they put them in garages and things like that. But it makes me, just wonder whatever happens to those things. The slick car that you'll never be able to...
it's funny, we're speaking of cars. I can't wait to see the first Cybertruck.
Oh, on the road?
Yeah.
Yeah, that thing is so hideous.
I
That
know.
looks like a
It
concept
looks
car.
awesome.
You like it?
Well, just because how different it looks.
It looks like if they gave a 5-year-old a blank piece of paper and said, draw a pickup truck.
Yeah.
And he did. Yeah, and then this is perfect.
Well, actually, when I first saw it, I thought it was a modified Chevy Avalanche or whatever. Was it Chevy? They had the Avalanche.
Oh, yeah. They kind of resemble.
Like it really looked very similar to that. But again, I can't wait to see it because it's gonna it was just so different. That's one thing I love about the style of cars over the course of decades. It's like you look at cars from 40 years ago, you're like, I can't believe people thought that was cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Like especially for like the Mustang. The Mustang had the weirdest timeline because I think it was like 1991 to like 1996. It was like the ugliest version of the Mustang.
There are certain year
ever
models that are not
and
great.
I was like, why do they even go this way? What's going on here? But yeah, with the Cybertruck coming out, it gets me thinking like people are gonna go for it now. Like these car companies are like, we got to make it look futuristic. Look at the Cybertruck. People are actually buying it, even though only certain people.
I was going to say, are people actually buying it, though? I don't think anybody wants that thing.
I think people do. People are freaking weird.
They got to be to have that.
I mean, I love the idea of buying a truck, but then it's battery powered. So it's like, oh yeah, you want to do that trailer that we want to back? Actually, that's probably what they need to buy. I bet there's a computer in that thing where you just push a button and it'll back that trailer out for you.
It might. Smart.
And he looked like one of those guys who would drive a Cybertruck too. Total judgment.
Yeah. Judge that guy.
Yeah.
All right, man. It's
Like he was playing football with a kid in his hand. I love that idea.
Right, yeah. If he missed, there goes the kid's head. Yeah. All right, that's a good place to take a break. When we come back, Dick, we're going to talk about the 28 places you should not take a woman on a date. We'll be right back. Audience of One, Wednesdays at 10 a.m. right here on Conroe's 106.1 and 104.5. Listen to the brain droppings of local hosts, me, Andrew Belshner, along with the jewel of Montgomery County radio, Dick Schisler. Topical musings, news stories, oddities, or just weird conversations that we normally have with ourselves, all mixed together with the occasional guest. You can also find us on Facebook, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts.
All right, so technical difficulties for that first segment for YouTube and Facebook. But we're back. You can now see us, which is great.
What do you mean, Dick? Were we not on camera?
We were on camera, but we weren't on the right camera.
Were you filming like the alley out back behind the studio or
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, the weather cam.
That was pretty funny. We went to break. He goes, what just happened? I'm like, oh no, were we not recording? And he said, no, we're recording. The camera's just not working. And I was like, I'm the true consummate professional. I said, let's just do it again, man.
No.
And we had this big fight. And he's like, no, we're going to go with it. I said, no, we have to do this again. But alas, he won. We're not going to do it again.
No.
No, I didn't. We're fine. There was nothing to really show on the audio or the video
Besides
anyway.
our good-looking faces.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking so good. I'm looking at myself and just thinking how good I look.
Do that on your own time.
I do it all the time. I always say that line from Boogie Nights. I'm a big star. I'm a big
star and I want to go fast.
That's not from that movie.
No, it's not. So I'm always weirded out when I hear stories like this.
Yeah.
But we're going to start off with a, oh no, tragic story. But apparently last month, a woman named Susan Hodgson.
Did they fall asleep in a hot tub?
No, that would be Matthew Perry, I believe. I think you're getting your stories mixed up. Do we want to eulogize him? Go ahead, Dick. Eulogize him. Go ahead.
You know what got me thinking is how many people have done that.
Falling asleep in a hot tub? I mean, from what we know so far, the toxicology comes back with nothing outside of the ordinary so far. But
hold on, let me ask you this side question: do they even have to let you know?
I don't know. To me, I don't think you have to release that stuff.
Yeah, to me, it's more the family. It's like, unless there's criminal activity involved.
Sure. But if there was, I guess technically they don't have to release it. But if they don't, it just appears as though something was wrong.
Well, I don't believe this article from 2006. Someone drowns in a tub nearly every day in America. What? What?
We have an epidemic on our hands, America. How does that happen? Oh my gosh!
I mean, I imagine there's a couple that like slip and hit their head.
Yeah, that's and that's a theory too.
Knocks their, and in that kind of a thing where like you can still drown in like an inch puddle of water.
Sure, of course. Yeah, you fall face down and you can drown in that. But my assumption would be they would know if he had a head trauma. They would already have said it appears he's had.
Well, didn't that what
happened
to Bob Saget?
That's one of the theories, that he hit his head and then a few hours later had some sort of recourse from it.
And fell asleep and just
died.
Yeah.
And died. Last month, Susan Hodgson, I think I said her name right this time. This is from MSN. She came back from her to find her longtime Atlanta family property in rubble. She says, "I'm furious. I just keep I'm waking up and thinking this is all a joke. I'm just in shock. And what has happened is apparently there was a mix-up, some kind of mistake, and a company demolished her house on accident."
Oof.
Yeah, oof. Couple of weird notes here, and the only reason I bring this up, because I've heard stories like this before, it's kind of funny, but the house has been boarded up for 15 years. However, they kept the grass cut, and the yard is clean, et cetera, but they boarded it up. And so everything's quote-unquote up to date, and she hadn't been there in 15 years.
Where are all the squatters?
Yeah, exactly. Well, they got it boarded up. They can't get in there, I guess. And so apparently this guy shows up and starts dozing the house, and a neighbor goes out there and says, "Hey, what are you doing?" And the man says, "Nothing. Mind your own business."
Wait. Hold on. So you're telling me with squatters, all those stories we've been talking about,
just put some wood up.
They don't break in? I mean, I imagine there are a couple stories like that where they don't break in.
No, because if you break in, it's breaking and entering. That's where the catch is. If you manage, like if the door is unlocked, if they let you go in as a part of a lease, and then somehow the lease runs up, but you're still there. If you break in, then no, you're breaking and entering.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I always thought it was majority of squatters was in direct connection to no one being at the house for so long, so they just kind of found it. It wasn't like, I'm gonna trick this guy. I'm gonna pretend to lease.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be
I think it varies, right? I think it varies. I think there's cases.
Well, I'm saying majority are the cases of like they find a house that hasn't been used for 15 years, and it's just like
not here. But I do think it's funny. She called the lady and says, "Hey, did you order something, on your house?" She said, "No." So the neighbor goes over there and tells the guy, "What are you doing?" And he literally says, "Shut up and mind your own business." This is the tow truck driver, the I guess he was front end loader, whatever you call it.
What are you trying to say about blue collar workers?
This is a quote from the story. I didn't
Shut up. Mind your own business.
But then somebody else came over and said, "Hey, I want to see a permit or something." And the guy said, "Fine." He pulled it out and said, quote, "Oh, I'm at the wrong address." And then he just packs up everything and leaves. Literally, he's like, "Oh," right in the middle of it. Well, my bad.
Well, he's got a job to do, so you can't hate him on that.
Yeah, so
he's already like 5 hours behind.
So they filed a police report and they contacted lawyers, but it is still unclear what is going to happen next or what her next steps are. But how crazy to come home and the house is in rubble. All right, man, as teased, this has kind of been going viral. And you and I talked a little bit about this on Saturday when we were enjoying our beverages and watching someone try to pull out a trailer from a parking lot. This is the list of 28 places where women say they should never be taken on a first date. And I'm not entirely sure how this list was aggregated or if somebody went out to the interwebs and just in the Twitter and the social media sites and just sort of aggregated it, or if it was something that was participated in. I'm not entirely sure. But this list has been going everywhere. And you had heard about it. When I brought it up to you on Saturday, you said, "Oh, yeah, I've heard about this." Now, I don't know that we're going to go through all 28 of them, but as you're a now single guy and out there actively on the dating scene, I figured this is something you probably need to be aware of.
Well, see, I changed my strategy. I basically am selling my sperm.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. When
That's
I go,
not dating, though.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's new strategy. So the idea is
That's an income potential. That has nothing to do with dating.
Locally sourced,
Organic,
organic, and
direct.
farm to table. Farm to table is what I call it.
Oh my God. See, I think you have this dating thing all wrong.
Well, you got to be unique out there, and that's one thing I learned with the apps. It's like you got to create a unique grab.
All right.
And because you sent me a good one where that older gentleman was trying to run a ministry, and he basically set his standards, saying, what was he,
70 years old.
70 years old, but I'm looking for a 20 to 32-year-old virgin Christian woman.
So that he can start essentially a cult.
A cult.
Yep. And he's very blatant about it, yes. That's not on the run sheet. But anyways.
But yeah.
This is the 28
I'm trying new things, man.
God.
So in those 28 places, it's not going to be my bedroom, that's for sure.
All right. Well, it might be. The 28th on the list is a sporting event. And I'm kind of 50-50 on this one because depending on where you met this person at, maybe you met them at a bar somewhere and they're wearing their Astros gear or whatever. You think, okay, she's into sports. Maybe a sporting event might be decent. But I would say if that's not the case, you probably don't want to take them to a sporting event, right? I think that's probably okay. Besides that, they can go on for 3-4 hours sometimes.
I've already told you my stories of my first dates.
Okay.
I feel like I have.
Well, sometimes. Next one on the list is Waffle House.
Yeah.
Hookah bar. Does anybody hookah anymore? Are you a hookah guy?
I mean, I'll do it, but then I don't go to it on a regular basis.
Bowling. This one is on the list. I know you're going to be like, that's perfect. Bowling's great.
Yeah.
But I tend to agree. I don't think I'd take somebody out on a first date to a bowling alley. I don't think.
See, this is such a strange list because it's one of those lists that sounds preposterous.
Yeah, some of these were backed up by other women, and some were refuted. So it just
like,
depends.
I can understand,
but it's a fun list to go through.
I can understand if it's from a woman's perspective. This whole list,
it is
that like number one would be like your house. Like that's a terrible place to have a first date.
It's on the list.
Yeah,
it's on the list.
Your parents' house. That's another thing. That's probably
family function.
Yeah, family function.
Yes, yes. It says movie night at home. Red flag. Family function, red flag, and then I like this one. Somewhere that requires a long drive. That is kind of creepy. Where are you taking
I've
me?
had a first date that way.
Yeah, no, you want to stay relatively close.
I didn't even know it was.
Or you just meet someone.
I don't
think you want to drive them.
Well, let
somewhere.
me ask you this though: like when this is the situation where you're asking someone on a date.
Mm-hmm. This is first date.
Yeah, because I've been in scenarios where I didn't even know we were on a date, and they called it a date. And I was like, well, I guess you could say that. Like, I thought I was just hanging out with you, but now I made a mistake.
This dating thing is really confusing for you, isn't it?
Well, no, like this, you said long drive. It's funny because basically one of my buddies asked me to come help with their property, and it was like a 6-hour drive.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, yeah, I don't really want to do that. And then he's like, well, my sister's going up there, and she can give you a ride. And that way you don't have to worry about anything. Like, you just come up and now we're already there. So I was like, cool, whatever. And for the 6-hour drive, we were just chatting, didn't think of it. And then when I got to the property, we met, like, did stuff, cleaned out the brushes and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. We were having a beer, and he's like, well, what do you think of my sister? And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, like, I kind of.
She was sizing you up in the car.
He's like, I kind of put that together. Like, how was that? How was your first date? And I was like, that was a date. And then he asked his sister, like, was that a date? She's like, yeah, I guess it was. And I was like, oh,
no, that's not a date. Well, don't take them on a long drive.
So that was
on the list. Also, Starbucks.
Guess what? Guess who didn't ride home with her?
Yeah, well, that'd have been a second date.
Yeah.
The next one is church. So don't take them to church.
I should have gotten to that third date. You know what I mean?
Then it's on.
Yeah.
I like this. And then we kind of get into fast food sort of chain restaurants. Here we got Denny's, IHOP, and then the nondescript, a buffet. Yeah, but that's frugal, right, baby? You can get all you want to eat right there.
There's some judgment here.
There is. Red Lobster.
Like, what happens if the buffet is at, like, a 5-star restaurant?
Well, that's what I'm getting at. As we're going through some of these.
Club.
Yeah, I think it's all perception because Red Lobster, pretty nice dining establishment in my opinion, but apparently the ladies do not want to be taken there. Buffalo Wild Wings.
This list is stupid.
The movies. I'm like, the movies? But here's where it gets really, really weird. The top 3. You ready?
I'm ready.
Actually, let's go top 5. Top 5, Olive Garden. Again, a nice choice. I don't mind that. Chipotle. Number 3, Chili's. Number 2, Applebee's. And number 1, the Cheesecake Factory. What's wrong with the Cheesecake Factory? That place is wonderful. You seen the menu on there? You get the molten lava cake for dessert. The menu's massive. You can get all kinds of things. A Monte Cristo sandwich if you want.
I don't think I've ever been there.
You've never been to the Cheesecake Factory?
I don't think I've ever been there. I think I've had cheesecake from there.
Yeah. Oh, it's a wonderful place. But apparently, overwhelmingly, and women back this up, do not want to be taken to the Cheesecake Factory on a first date. Boo-hoo, ladies.
What was your first date with your wife? What was that all about?
I don't even remember.
You don't remember your first date?
Yeah, actually, it was, I guess, again, what do you classify as a date? It was like a Super Bowl thing, I think.
I want to say I told you the story about when I got hooked up through a mutual friend, like a blind date, and I sent her a list of like fun things to do that day in Houston. There's a good variety of stuff. There was a special thing at the museum, and then there was we could have gotten coffee at this market thing. That market was going on, so you get coffee and you walk around. And then the third one was something with the zoo was doing something special. And she goes, "All of that sounds great." And so I was sitting there going
yeah, you mentioned this.
Yeah,
before.
I think I mentioned this to you.
Yeah.
We spent.
Hold on, that's an entire day's worth of activities. Yeah. Choose one.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to be like a dick, but inadvertently at the end of the date, we did all 3 things, and I was having a great time.
And never saw her again.
And then apparently I offended her at one point
yes, you
throughout
did.
the date. I don't know which
Multiple
one.
times.
Multiple times. And that was great. That was a great phone call from the friend going she's like, I was like, I had such a great time. She's so nice. Da, 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 da. Well, she hates you. What? Why? She's like, oh, you're making fun of the way she's dressed. Like, well, because she was criticizing someone else. And I said, that's not fair to criticize someone for what they're wearing. Like, I could see, I'm not going to let that kind of behavior happen in front of me. But first dates are great. And now I'm glad I have this list of.
Yeah, I'll send this to you. I'll text it to you so you know.
How strong this woman is. We're going to the Cheesecake
Yeah, exactly.
Factory.
Do that right out of the gates and see if she asks for a second date. She's the one. Well, on this list was not outer space, which is probably should be on the list because if you go to outer space and you have the relations that ends up having children.
Farm to table?
Farm to table.
Yeah.
You have farm to table stuff going on. Yeah. Apparently, weird things happen when things reproduce in space. I don't know if you're aware of this.
See, when you say that, I immediately think of the movie Aliens or Alien, and then I'm like, oh, gross. Oh, gross.
Well, they've done several tests over the years of having certain animals get it on up in space.
Like bunnies or something?
Yeah, mostly insects and worms and things, but this one thing that really caught my eye is cockroaches, because I hate cockroaches.
Okay.
Apparently they got some cockroaches to mate up in space. The bug did not have its babies till it got back to planet Earth, but what they found with these babies was kind of weird. And this is from Mashable.com. They've always got some pretty interesting stuff, but this is the Southeast Asia version of Mashable, so it's really wild.
So it's not real.
No, it's real.
Mashable in general is not real.
Oh, you don't think it's real? Did I fall for something? Oh, no.
I love this idea. Okay. So what you're killing me
so
here.
No, I think it's 2007, but anyways, 33 cockroach babies were born presenting unusual mutations. They were larger, ran faster, and even looked different than their brethren bugs on Earth. How freaky, man. So what is it about? Is it something about the weight? What is it about outer space that makes these things mutate?
I don't know, but I still like the idea of practical science going, we haven't really been in space that long. Let's mate some stuff. Let's see what happens.
Right. Well, what they're attributing it to is that it's the radiation levels. And I guess I didn't know this, but on the International Space Station, flying about 250 miles above the Earth, astronauts are exposed to radiation levels 100 times higher than on the ground.
Yeah.
But even though the space station is still within the Earth's magnetic field, it oftentimes will still be subject to some of these toxic cosmic rays, right? And apparently the radiation, if you're making babies up in space, can do some funny things. Farm to table. But I didn't know that, man. But that's just kind of gross. But I'm thinking if we want to dominate the Olympics, like we used to.
Good thing I
Dang
have
it.
a big farm.
You have got to get off this farm to market thing, man.
I love it. It's fun.
I think we could send some people up to outer space to make our next Olympians. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Well, it's a risk because it's either going to be useless, and then we're going to have that whole conundrum. Like, do we just kill them, or like,
Well, if they come out like super fast and can hurdle and jump and play basketball, no.
see what's funny that when
Keep your eye on the prize,
so
Dick.
when you prove that works, it's going to be the funniest thing. Like the richest people are going to be doing it, And
Going up to space to have
everyone
your babies?
Yeah, everyone knows what you're doing, and it's like, what do you go? We're going.
Oh, the
on-
Schistlers are going back up to space to make babies again.
Yeah, it's like
It's just so not fair.
Try to
The
make-
rich get richer.
I'm trying to make the perfect cult, you know.
Space baby cults. Well, staying on this theme of outer space and weirdness, have you ever been to Area 51?
No, I don't. It's in Nevada, right?
Yes, I think, or New Mexico, I think. Oh no, I think so.
Well, I have a computer right here. I can just
We'll
look it
never
up.
know. I have driven by it before, and of course you can see it along the road there. I think it's in Nevada, or
It's at Edwards
yeah,
Air Force Base.
there you go.
That's not really. Actually, they don't really tell you exactly where it is.
yeah, I have driven by it. I thought it was near Roswell, New Mexico. Sort of somewhere in that same area, but my memory is fading on me as time.
it's
I
in
did a family
Nevada.
trip there at one time. Well, apparently it's making news here because a 70-year-old California man is quietly awaiting news from the officials as he claims he flew his private plane over Area 51 out of curiosity, and nothing happened. And he's waiting. I did it. You gonna come get me? I guess he was thinking 70 years old. He could risk it for the biscuit, fly over there because it is restricted airspace, right? It is restricted grounds. And he just assumed if he flew over it, he was going to get shot down, I guess, and go down in a blaze of glory. Well, he went over it and nothing happened. And apparently he's pissed about it. I guess he's trying to make a name for himself and nothing has happened. This guy's name is, it doesn't say his name, really. Interesting. I wonder if they've erased his mind. It says he flew over Area 51 in a slightly diagonal line around Immigrant Valley and Groom Lake area inside of Area 51, according to an open source flight record obtained by the Daily Caller. Sounds like a fake newspaper. Daily Caller.
Would you consider that a suicide mission?
That's kind of what I was getting at.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think so because it is considered a military base,
Yeah.
and you can't breach the airspace or even breach the grounds of any military base without, threats of getting shot. Or getting.
Well, no, because I feel like walking onto a military base, you get the threat. But I feel like if you
You walk far enough.
if you flew into
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
you would
exactly.
probably get shot down immediately.
I would think so, and I think that's why he's kind of shocked that it didn't happen. You're like, are you guys on your phones? What's going on here? He said he told the Daily Caller he mostly saw desert and mountains in the restricted airspace with no signs of UFOs or alien life forms. He apparently is really disappointed in that.
Oh yeah, but most people who are wanting to believe that get disappointed all the time.
I think he should make up something. I saw all kinds of things, man.
That's what people do.
I saw alien cockroaches mating with humans, man. He was crazy. He was crazy.
Don't say that.
Why? Are you
Now
weirded out by cockroaches?
Now I think of it, and now
Now you can't get out of it?
that's a real farm to table kind
Well,
of.
it does. It does remind me of the what was it? Raid Area 51. I guess was it an event that occurred back in 2019?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it kind of went viral, and I don't remember. I think I brought something up here, but I
And
don't
we're
know.
not talking about insect killer. We're talking about people showing up because they all agree they're going to raid it.
Yeah, so I guess there was the thought of they might be able to stop one person or two people, but if we all go all at once, they can't stop us all, and we demand to know what's inside the gates of Area 51. It went viral, and I think a bunch of people actually showed up on the highway out there out front to raid this thing. Of course, the officials were saying, please do not do this because you run the risk of getting shot. This is a military base. If you start running up here, we're going to warn you a couple of times, but then eventually you're getting shot. But none of them were more famous than that one guy who claimed the way to do it is to Naruto run. You remember this guy?
Yeah, if people don't know what that is, it's a cartoon, and the guy runs funny.
Yeah, so basically a Naruto run is where you lean forward and you put your arms kind of back behind your back.
Yeah.
And I guess you're supposed to be more aerodynamic and maybe you
It's a
run
cartoon.
faster.
Come on, guys. Well, it does make you think though. Like, if there is an apocalyptic situation in this world, if all those spaces you're not supposed to go to, I guess I can see people. That's like the first thing they'd go to.
I guess so. I mean, it's the closest thing we got here, right, in the United States that sort of fits that bill.
Yeah, like if I lived around there, and then like everyone like quit their jobs, and it was just like zombies or whatever.
Yeah.
Apocalyptic scenario. It's like, oh, let's go check out Area 51, dude.
Yeah, it says the Naruto run was inspired by Naruto Uzumaki, the Japanese manga character who runs with his head down and his arms stretched behind him. The event creator Matty Roberts, the event being the Storm Area 51, actually did a demo in this interview. But I remember this was from 2019, and it got really, really big, but I think it sort of fizzled when the government did come out and say, look, we're going to shoot. You can't do this. Thank God, because I can imagine.
What was even worse is they did it.
TikTok
they
challenge.
did it at the gate.
Yeah, they were going to storm the gate.
Yeah,
I mean, everybody knew they were coming.
Yeah, I would have just picked a spot in the fence and just not told anybody.
Right, or fly over it apparently with a plane.
But maybe that in itself was a diversion.
Ooh, yeah,
I mean,
it is.
This is the government we're talking
about. Does this bother you at all? Though some 70-year-old guy could fly his private plane over Area 51 and nothing happens. Are you a bit bothered by this?
No. I mean, we had weather balloons at the beginning of the year that were just kind of floating around.
This is true. They're probably hanging out over Area 51, apparently.
Like, why not? I like it. I like that idea.
Yeah, I just like how he's waiting to get in trouble.
Well, I always wondered, like, especially in
nothing happened.
Like military operations and then like technology. I wonder if there's probably something still going on today that people forgot about.
What do you mean?
Well, like you release a balloon 40 years ago or whatever, and like you just kind of forget. Like especially like the USSR when they shut down, they're probably doing all sorts of stuff. And it's like, oh, we kind of forgot that we were running this computer that was gonna do this thing, and we kind of forgot about it. And this thing is actually
still just hanging out with like the guns pointed right at us. We're like, oh yeah, that thing.
That was, yeah.
Don't worry about it.
I always wondered. It's like one of those things that people just kind of forget about. Similar to those concept cars. It's just like, we built the super tank, but kind of forgot about it.
Now it's just crawling around the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah.
It'll get to the other side eventually.
That's what I love about those robots. It's just like, they're like, oh, it can be on for 20,000 hours. And it's like someone just forgot. It's just like going around town.
Is this like the dating robot? What are you talking about?
What day? There's a dating robot?
So, Dick, would you know what to do if you encountered a bear? And I don't mean the term for a larger man who likes other men. I'm talking about the actual bear. Would you know what to do?
I would try to get away.
And let's be more specific. A black bear.
See, that's what I'm saying. I knew you were going to go this way with this. It's like, oh, with black bears, you stand still. And then with brown bears, you can...
So basically what you're saying is if...
keep your chest forward towards the animal.
Naruto run. That's right. Naruto run.
You don't show your back. Or something like that. And then everyone has bear mace, so we just use bear.
You got some underneath the desk there next to your Matt Lauer lock?
Oh.
So apparently there are certain rules that you're supposed to follow, Dick, so that you don't get killed by a black bear or any bear for that matter. But if you see one by a building, a dumpster, or around the corner, give the bear a clear escape route, okay? Do not corner it. Leave any doors open as you back away from the bear. And do not lock the bear in a room. Important things to remember. If it's in your backyard from a safe distance, make loud noises. Shout or bang pots and pans together to scare away the bear.
Or I could just shoot it.
There is always that option, I suppose. I think this is supposed to be if you are unarmed, I'm guessing. But if you're in your backyard...
Yeah, if you're armed, just open fire.
Yeah, let's go. Castle Doctrine, papoon. Yeah. And I love this. It says, when the bear leaves, remove potential attractants such as garbage, birdseed, or pet food. Yes, or a Hot Pocket in your backyard.
There's so many things I need to be doing.
There's a lot of things to remember here.
When I see a bear.
Yeah, there's a lot of things to remember.
Not the birdseed.
Ask your neighbors to remove attractants as well. Hey there, Bob. You know that birdseed you got? I'm going to have to ask you to get rid of that. It's attracting the black bears. And then it says, check your front yard for bears before letting your dog out.
Where are we living here?
Well, the reason I've got a video next, and I want you to show the video because it's pretty crazy. And of course, the last one, if you're in the woods, if you see a bear before it notices you, stand still. Do not approach and enjoy the moment. I love that. Right. Oh, this is great. But this is a really crazy video, and if you scroll down there, you'll see it. But apparently there was a family, I believe it was in Mexico, who was having a picnic, and this black bear comes up to their picnic, and they just sit there and let it eat, right? And I guess this is the proper thing to do. You don't want to move. You don't want to scare it, because if you run off...
Or you can film it, that's
right,
for sure.
Well, right. Then the husband's over there going, hey, I got this on camera. But I guess he's doing the right thing as well. But the mother, who is shielding the child's eyes, he appears to be about 8 years old, so he doesn't freak out. That bear is within, a foot of them. And he's just chowing down on their barbecue sandwich or whatever it is. And I guess after he's done eating...
I'd be so pissed.
He just... Look at that, how close he is to that child. Within inches. Yeah, it's absolutely terrifying. But again, they knew the rules.
This makes me hungry, man. I don't want to watch this anymore.
They knew the rules. If this were you, Dick, enjoying your...
I probably wouldn't have
You would have run off like a little girl. Exactly. You would have run off, thereby enticing the bear to chase you. I don't know if you...
Yeah, throw the food at it.
Well, maybe. I think it thinks it's a game of chase and then runs after you, and then...
No, throw the food.
After that,
throw the food.
It's on. Yeah? I don't know. I don't think that works. I don't think that works as well as you think it does.
Well, I don't think it will work. I hope it will work. I don't know what to tell you. I saw another video of a guy, the black bear came in his screen porch. And he literally was going after his little dog because he could hear the dog barking, running towards the house. And then you see all of a sudden this bear chase it into the porch. Mm-hmm. And he literally shoves it out. Grabs one of those benches that swings and shoves it into the doorway, and then see the bear. It would look pretty scary.
Yeah, it does.
But he fought it, so I was like, that guy.
Yeah, I don't know that that's the right thing to do. But
I would have thrown the dog back at the bear and been like,
"Here you go.
Sorry, Scrappy. I gotta get out of here."
Yeah, better you than me. What is the saying? If you're being
how many animal encounters have you had?
So many. 2 on the way over here.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, the most recent one were armadillos, and they were right next to me. I had no idea they were right next to me.
Those carry leprosy.
Well, they carry a lot of things. I imagine they're dirty.
Or rabies. One of the two.
They're dirty.
They are dirty. There's rats with shells.
But yeah, I was surprised because I was like, what is that? And I look over on the other side of the fence, like, oh, that's an armadillo. And then I was like, cool. And then I just went on my day.
And that was it. Neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was literally right here. It was just right here.
Like in the studio?
No, it was where we were, and I was like, I hear something by me. It was dark, and I was like, oh, look, there's an armadillo. And I think another one that was really close to me, let's see. I remember one time there was a snake. That was interesting. That scared the bejesus out of me.
Mm-hmm. What kind of snake?
That's
another one. Red and yellow, kill a
I didn't know it was there.
Red and black, friend of Jack or something. You have time to remember all that stuff. Is that thing's eating your face?
We were at Big Bend, and I was hiking and taking pictures. And then next thing I know, I saw some trash on the ground. So I was like, oh, I'm be a good person.
Look at you. Good Samaritan.
And I picked up the trash. And right when I reached down to pick up the trash, I quarter of my eye, I go, is that a snake?
Or a black bear?
Yeah, it might be a black bear.
Am I doing the right thing? Hold on, let me remember back to this episode.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Dick, this is the, last story we'll cover here before the end of the show. Have you ever had a lemon to lemonade kind of thing where something went bad for you, but you were able to...
Make lemons out of lemonade?
Turn it around and get it into your favor? I can't think of anything right off the top of my head.
Yeah, there's a great farm-to-table story I have where this girl... No, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna work it in. No,
Well, here's a. Well, go ahead if you can think.
I'm trying to remember the situation I was in because we got in trouble as a group, and then I got us out of it somehow.
Nice.
Because we were young, we were 16, and we were driving, and this guy got really pissed off at us. And he cornered us because we were going to Whataburger or something. And I just remember hey man, we were just, my friend's special or something like that. It's one of those scenarios.
Well, this is a little different, but Brittany Eddy, a mom from Idaho, was left in tears when her frozen breast milk supply was ruined nearly 7 months after she gave birth. So what this is a scenario where the woman's pumping, right, and him storing the extras into the freezer so that her baby can have sustenance.
Talk about farm to table.
And her husband accidentally forgot to plug the freezer back in as he cleaned the garage. But Eddie didn't want to throw away the milk, so he found a way, or she, sorry, that's her last name, found a way to turn sour milk into lemonade. And she has started a business where she makes soaps and lotions from her breast milk. And she's doing very well. And she's made them in little shapes here. We've got, looks like a little hippo, a little bear, a little honeycomb. So I got to ask you, Dick, would you be interested in purchasing her breast milk skin moisturizing products?
Yes. I'm one of those weirdos where I can tell people I bathe.
Man, I just don't get this
I'm
crap.
just kidding.
I just don't get this crap.
I don't really care about
I don't
that
care
stuff.
either, and I can't believe that people are into this stuff. But she charges $30 for 6 bars. And I'm wondering how much is actually in there. Is it just like a little drop? Is it like the Goop candle where it's just enough to give you a hint? Or is it, actually got a bunch in there? I can't imagine that it does.
I'm looking
So
it
she
up.
also makes diaper cream and lotions for $15 each.
You can get on Etsy, $7 a bar.
There you go for the breast milk bar. Well, that is absolutely lemons to lemonade. All right, guys, that is all that we have got for this week. We appreciate you listening
Now I know what to,
to
get
the
you for
audience of one
Christmas.
show. Yeah, some breast milk soap. Perfect for stocking
And then I'll be
stuffers.
like, hey, it came from me.
Oh, that's not breast milk. Just remember to like and subscribe, everyone. Share the show.
Thank you. Yeah. And
Follow us on social. Follow us on podcast. Whatever you want to do.
Yeah. And then we're here every Wednesday at 10 a.m.
10 a.m. Dick, it was a lot of fun. See you next week.